And I remember right around Christmas, it was around $800 an ounce. It had gotten almost to 900. Might have even hit that 900 point before the new year. And then went down a little bit more. Now it's at $1,200, an increase of almost $400. $400 in a year. And again, if you started in 2003 when it was under $300 an ounce, it has 4 times the value that it had less than a decade ago. Not really, because they've gutted the dollar, and even though it's worth $1,200, the dollar is so weak right now compared to where it was 6 years ago that it could be said you're really just maintaining the value of your money. All right, let's continue with the callers. 888-201-2244 or 512-646-1776. George in Illinois. George, you're on the line.
Hey, Jason, how are you?
Good.
Hey, just before I get to my 2 points, that was me talking to Sean Hannity earlier. I don't know who put it on the web, but thank you for whoever did.
Yeah, it's on an Examiner article, and I had noticed it earlier in the week, but obviously I only do the show once a week now. And it was definitely something that I wanted to play because you were able to get out a lot of great points. And he really reveals himself saying that the military-industrial complex is why you and I, George, have freedom of speech. Freedom of speech, apparently, is not an inherent right. It is provided to us by the good people at GE, Northrop Grumman, and Raytheon, and Lockheed Martin. Go ahead, George.
Of course. Of course. Before I get to my story of the year, you got to see the new Sherlock Holmes movie, man. It's filled with all sorts of Illuminati propaganda.
Really? Is it really? That's
yeah.
so disappointing. I like Guy Ritchie. Oh, man, don't tell me Guy Ritchie went to the dark side. Is that what you're telling me right now?
He's deep in the dark side, bro.
All right.
Okay,
all
but
right.
my story of the year has to be the war on Pakistan. I think it's just a mess, and that's the military-industrial complex at work.
And now, when you say the war on Pakistan, let's talk about this for a little bit. Now, we know that Pakistan is really part of this effort to build a Eurasian Union. They always say that there's tribal wars on the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan, but for some time, we have infiltrated a lot of their government. In other words, the ISI was created through British intelligence and revamped from the CIA. We had involvements with them in the late 70s, the early 80s, BCCI banking. We know that Pakistani officials were funding the hijackers through U.S. intelligence. But now it seems like that is also the breeding ground and the beta test ground for a lot of the UAV drone attacks that the United States military is perfecting, sometimes using Xbox controllers to control these UAVs. And that is now extended from Pakistan worldwide. In fact, Chavez, and again, I'm no Chavez fan, I'm reporting this because this is in Bloomberg. Chavez says U.S. drone planes entered Venezuela. Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez said U.S. pilotless planes have crossed the border recently from Colombia, and he's ordered his military to shoot down the drones if they appear in Venezuelan airspace again. So to me, it may be even bigger than this situation in Pakistan and Afghanistan, but really the birth of the next level of the military-industrial complex, drones and robotics to take people out. And I don't know if you remember this, but Fox ran a story where they were talking about these basically these robots that could live on biomass. In other words, dead people, animals, plant life. And then they had to change that and rescind it and say, oh, we didn't mean that they could actually eat dead bodies on the battlefield. It could only, take plant life and small animal life. It could never be able to do that. What we're seeing is really the birth of Skynet, and I think that's very scary. We're seeing, God, the Large Hadron Collider is a huge story from this year that no one's talked about. Even though they failed in their first attempt to hit these 2 huge particle beams to create life, they're continuing with their research. They're going forward, and they say they don't know what's going to happen. Did this cause the swirls in the sky of Norway and China? Is that something else? I don't know, but that's yet another huge story that has been neglected. I thank you for the call. The call line is 888-201-2244, or you can call 512-646-1776. Now, earlier, I talked about how the Rothschild family is trying to promote a new Broadway musical in which their rags to riches story is told. And remember, the Rothschilds should be elevated to that of godhood status. They've got the younger Rothschild running around promoting the global warming agenda of cap and trade and global governance, and it's here to save us, while the banksters stay in the background. This one is out of the Business and Financial News. Reuters, Rothschild restructures its way up U.S. league tables. Some of Rothschild's top investment bankers were preparing for Thanksgiving last year in their homes in Connecticut when the opportunity of a lifetime presented itself. The U.S. government was looking to hire advisors to help it fix the crumbling auto industry that eventually crumbled and became a North American Union auto industry after the bailout. It was already moving in that direction, but now there are more plants in Canada and Mexico than the United States. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? And they're being advised by the Rothschilds. Excellent. That's how my country should be run, by the Rothschilds. But it needed a team ready to go on the holiday weekend in late November, and it was concerned about potential conflicts among advisors who were already helping others in the troubled sector. And we will continue with this article and many others on the other side. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas going over the biggest stories of 2009. If you want your opinion to be heard, 888-201-2244. Back after this. InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas. Final hour. If you missed any of the programming, you can pick up the podcast over at theinfowarrior.com. You can support this program by becoming a member of prisonplanet.tv. Tell them Jason Bermas sent you for only $6 a month. You can get all of my films, all of Alex Jones's films, this radio/internet web show, as well as the Alex Jones Show, and so much more. Or you can get a copy of Fabled Enemies, make dozens, hundreds, thousands of copies, hand them out, and make a difference in your community by exposing the international intelligence organization that really runs the show, the shadow government elements that are the tools of the elite, the national security apparatus that has now swallowed the bureaucracy it created, Homeland Security, to further install tyranny in this country and abroad. We're going to continue to take your calls, 888-201-2244 or 512-646-1776. And then coming up in the next segment, we're going to play Senator Max Baucus drunk on the House floor, promoting the health care agenda and shouting down a fellow senator. Let's go to Adam in Minnesota. Adam, you're online.
Hi. I just recently started listening to your guys' show, and I think it is completely awesome.
Oh, thank you, man.
I don't have any stories about the news or anything because I don't really listen to it. I don't trust it.
Well, what do you think? What do you think, Adam? Being somebody who's new to the show, what do you think the biggest story of 2009 was? And maybe what is the story that got you involved with InfoWars? In other words, how did you find Alex Jones or Jason Bermas? What story prompted that? Maybe that's the biggest story for you.
Actually, it was the 9/11 and how that was a cover-up.
Yeah, that's what brought you over to InfoWars. So what did you do? Did you come across a loose change, or did you come across a road to tyranny, or was it just you felt like you weren't being told the truth about 9/11? Did some Google searches, came across InfoWars?
Yeah, it was YouTube. It was kind of
gotcha.
I saw the Barack Obama deception, and so I was like, all right, might as well watch it.
So, all right. So, how do you come across an Obama? Let's talk about this, because this is, how we get our information out there. Viral videos is a big part of the program here at the InfoWars team. How do you come across an Obama deception? Are you just surfing YouTube in the most popular sections? Does somebody send you a link? How do you get to the Obama deception?
It comes in as people have different videos and stuff of different related articles, on 9/11, and then
Sure.
you know.
So
and
what
then
did you
one
think
of them
was
just
what did you think
happened
was the
to-
most compelling part of the Obama deception? I mean, what really turned your head and said, "Whoa, there is something big going on here"?
the shadow government.
Mhm.
I mean, I always never trusted the government, so
Mhm.
that really turned me on to it.
Well, a lot of people, and I thank you for the call, Adam, don't even understand what the shadow government is, don't understand its history, don't understand that it's openly admitted not only that it exists, but it is the true power behind the Pentagon, the National Security Agency, and really our federal, legislative, and executive branches of government. It's an extension of the executive branch, really supersedes the executive branch of government. And this came into play